clerk who...
Breaking news. 7-Eleven tells employee not getting murders against store policy. This happened 5 days ago. Yeah, 7-Eleven employee killed somebody in self-defense because the guy tried to murder her in Oklahoma City, where an employee at 7-Eleven defended herself against a robber who tried to kill her over a burrito with her own firearm. I explained how, according to a corporation policy, she is not allowed to use personal firearms or to stop an attack on herself while working. Fuck that shit. First Amendment rule states, if somebody tries to kill you, you have the right to kill them back in self-defense. That's First Amendment and Second Amendment rule. If the company don't like that, they should have a policy way to employees to defend themselves against attacks. The dude tried to kill her over a fucking burrito. And 7-Eleven is trying to tell her that is against their store policy to defend yourself. Hell no, if I work at a gas station and someone try to do me this that way, I do the exact same thing. Hell to school, the policy of the company. Your life is more important than a stupid job. They can replace you easily. You only have one life. They can have multiple people to come there and replace the job site. Not you. There's only one of you in the world. You die, nobody can replace you. These other people can just come bring you more and more. These companies gotta realize something. When employees are working at nighttime, especially female employees working at gas stations at night, they need to have a way to defend themselves, because there's a lot of crazy ass motherfuckers out in the world that do something to these women. But these companies don't give a fuck about it because they're not them. Like the roles in reverse, put their asses in this situation, then they might realize it. But watch the video here.
shot a suspect in the stomach after police say he attacked her over a counterfeit bill. Fox 25's Rob Hagan joins us live tonight. Rob, I hear she just got some news from 7-Eleven.
That's right, Wendy. Good evening. Now, Stephanie Dill. Says 7-Eleven corporate called her today and fired her for using her own gun in self-defense.
So one of the things that is so annoying about corporate America in current year, in the modern day, is how risk-averse they've been. I mean, typically we are used to, in Hollywood portrayals, executives being cold-blooded, absolutely ruthless, not caring about anybody's opinion about anything, just corporate profits. However, in reality, what we actually see is that these people who work at these companies, they're just basically bureaucrats. They're pencil pushers enforcing stupid-ass policies despite the fact that circumstances should allow for changes and alterations to said policies. And a perfect example is this case, I believe out of Oklahoma City, where you had a store clerk refuse to take a counterfeit $100 bill. The criminal in this particular case went to attack her, went to strangle her, went to murder her, again, over minor items like a burrito and I think some beef jerky or something of the sort. And this woman, as a last resort, pulled out her own firearm, shot the suspect in the stomach, don't care if he survived or not, but it doesn't look like he was killed. And 7-Eleven responded to all of this, not by giving their employee a commendation and some extra money to say, hey, you defended our store, we're sorry for what happened to you. They instead fired her. They punished her for defending her own life from somebody who threatened to kill her, who was actively strangling her, and this is absolute madness. So we're going to talk about it, but before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Oh, give me the money. Give me the money, okay?
They say it's against company policy. She says she's lucky to be alive.
Again, a profile in corporate courage right here. Hey, it's actually against our policy for you to defend yourself with your own weapon that you're legally able to carry. What you want to do if you want to keep your job is actually let that innocent Baba Angel Aladdin suspect strangle you, take the product, who knows what else he wants to do to you, and if you die in the process, then you will not lose your job. Then you'll be A-OK first class all the way. And it seems like it would be a good time to inform all of you guys right now in this moment that Stephanie Dillard actually does in fact have a GoFundMe. It's at about $30,000, which is approaching her $35,000 goal. It will be linked in the description if you want to support her, but let us hear from the woman herself, the defender herself, who ended up fighting off this attacker, shot him square in the stomach as he was strangling her, and then was called by corporate and told that she was fired.
25-year-old Stephanie Dilliard was a 7-Eleven clerk who faced terror after she says a man tried to strangle her after she refused a counterfeit $100 bill for burritos, beef sticks, and ice cream. It happened Thursday, just before midnight.
He threatened me, said that he was going to slice my head off. And then that's when I tried to call the police. Realized he started throwing things at me. Came behind the counter. I tried to run off, but he grabbed his hands around my neck and pushed me out of the counter space. That's when I pulled out my gun and I shot him.
So first of all, and this is obviously very important, Stephanie has a lot of hair. Her hair is quite big, and I just wanted to make commentary on that. I'm not saying it's not nice hair. I'm saying if you're into it, definitely hit her up. She's about to be a much wealthier woman based on her GoFundMe. But when you hear her describe with her hair that particular story, what was she supposed to do except for die, according to 7-Eleven, get savagely beaten or hospitalized? Because, yeah, she tried every single step to avoid the conflict. First and foremost, she refused to take the counterfeit $100 bill. Likely that would have been taken out of her paycheck had she just taken it. Secondly, when this guy started getting irate at her, started threatening her, threatened to cut off her head, by the way, so maybe this guy was implying that he had a weapon with that threat, she decided that she was going to try to flee after he had taken the counter area. However, this criminal, this innocent Baba Angel Aladdin that 7-Eleven is trying to protect, and by the way, part of what they're trying to protect is themselves from a lawsuit. Don't think I don't understand that. But this innocent Baba Angel ends up wrapping his hands around her neck, and then he's choking her after she's already tried to flee. After she's already tried to get out of this situation, she is being choked out with all of that hair in the 7-Eleven. And what is she supposed to do in those circumstances? Honestly, thankfully she had a weapon. Thankfully she utilized that weapon, because why should Stephanie Dillard die just because some scumbag criminal didn't want to pay for his burrito and his candy bars? By the way, 7-Eleven burritos, disgusting. Let's be clear about that. That's another crime on top of everything else with actual money.
Police say the suspect, 59-year-old Kenneth Thompson, ran to MacArthur Boulevard and Northwest 34th Street and called 911.
Now, when I first heard this part of the story, I thought that Kenneth Thompson, the 59-year-old suspect in this particular case, called 911 to report that he was the victim of a shooting, but I think what actually happened was he was calling an ambulance because he definitely needed one. And of course, I think now would be a good time, even though I probably put his face in the thumbnail, let's keep it real, to reveal the identity of Kenneth Thompson. Because when you Google Kenneth Thompson in Oklahoma, you get a lot of white people that come up, but there is only one true Kenneth Dion Thompson, the suspect in this case, and he is this individual right here. And by the way, unsurprisingly, based on what we're seeing even in this, he has a criminal history. He was arrested at least once at age 57. I'm sure if I did more digging, more due diligence, I would find out that he was a repeat offender. But again, this story is not necessarily about Kenneth Thompson wanting a burrito and not wanting to pay with a $100 bill and then getting shot for his trouble, although I will point out that had the police came and had they restrained him, then that would be a national civil rights issue worthy of multi-billion-dollar rioting across the country. This is the story of this girl, Stephanie Dillard, 25 years old, losing her job at 7-Eleven because 7-Eleven HR thought, you know what, we have a policy against you using your own gun to defend yourself. We found out that the gun wasn't the gun of the store, therefore you're gonna lose your job. Again, something so ticky-tacky and nonsensical, I just find it to be ridiculous, because had this been a gun that was approved by 7-Eleven, we would have no problem here. We would be totally fine. But if you're an employee and you carry a gun in the store, even though it's illegal to do so, whoa, lady, what are you doing? Kenneth Dion Williams, he needed that burrito in order to feed his starving family.
Police say Dilliard is protected under Oklahoma's self-defense law, but she says 7-Eleven Human Resources fired her Monday morning for using her own gun.
Said that they were going to separate from employment because of a violation policy.
Now, you guys all know that I'm a capitalist. I'm not into that commie nonsense that is being portrayed on the internet.com by a bunch of different people. But I do hate corporate speak. We are going to separate you from your employment at this moment in time due to a violation of corporate policy. Whatever happened to the old days where you would just fire somebody? You call them up and you say, hey, pack your stuff, get the hell up out of here. You're fired. You're an absolute loser. We never want to see you ever again. What is this separated from employment nonsense that now they're doing as they're pulling the most cold-hearted move humanly possible? They're basically telling this girl that it's corporate policy at 7-Eleven for you to die at 7-Eleven because you can't use your firearm to defend yourself. Obviously, huge disadvantage her being a woman against this guy. And they're like, yeah, well, sorry, we're going to have to separate you from your employment since you didn't let Kenneth Dion Thompson separate you from your life.
Dilliard says she was working by herself from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. for more than 2 years. On Monday, she still had a scratch on her neck and burns on her finger from firing the pistol.
This was a situation where I felt like I was put in a corner between choosing between my job and my life. And I'm always going to choose my life because there's people that depend on me. I'm going home. You know, that's my goal. I need to be here for my kids.
So to be clear, in that particular situation, she was not thinking that this was between her job and her life. She was thinking that this was her life on the line, and no, she should not be expected to give it up. And it is quite telling that this woman is describing working at a 7-Eleven in Oklahoma City, as like the same way a police officer would describe their job in the line of duty. She's like, I gotta go home. I gotta make sure I see my family, even though it should not be that dangerous to operate a convenience store in a black neighborhood in the United States of America. But of course, that aspect of the story completely pulled out of this local news segment. Again, 7-Eleven is getting the attention, and deservedly so, because their policy is stupid, but let us not forget that we have a criminal with a criminal history that is out on the streets committing additional crimes and willing to murder somebody, again, over them not accepting a counterfeit $100 bill.
Thompson was arrested at the hospital and charged with assault and battery, threatening acts of violence, trying to pass a fake bill, and a felony warrant for violating parole.
Yeah, so those are all the charges, and of course you hear the cherry on top of everything, which is a felony violation of his parole, because in fact, he was paroled. He was released from jail, from prison, given another chance. I mean, he's just an old man. He was age 57 when he committed his last crime that he was arrested for, and he's probably on the cusp of being rehabilitated, according to the parole board. So they dumped this guy back onto the streets, and he tried to kill somebody. Again, how many chances do you get when you're criming into your 50s? How many more free passes? How many times is the parole board going to examine your life, everything that has built up to this point, and saying, you know what, innocent, Baba Angel Aladdin didn't do nothing wrong. He was just trying to steal bread in order to feed his starving family. At some point, we gotta say, yeah, maybe we've given you enough chances. Maybe you're kind of old, you're still criming. We gotta lock your ass up because you do not deserve the freedom that you have.
Dilliard hopes this incident serves as a wake-up call so no other clerks get hurt or killed, especially women.
Whoa, Stephanie, listen, this is a right-wing channel. We don't take kindly to that feminism nonsense, so you're gonna have to save the especially women thing for another day. I can't even believe you said that on my channel. I mean, it's a pre-recorded segment. I watched this video and then I thought of joking commentary to make on it, but how dare you bring that feminism nonsense right here? You have an equal right to be ordered to be strangled to death as a man at 7-Eleven by your corporate overlords.
If I known that, there's a potential where somebody could be for real in taking my life away, that I will do whatever it takes. I hope that, women see that and, they'll do the same thing. You have the right to defend yourself.
So all joking aside, Stephanie Dillard is 100% in the right. You do have a right to defend yourself. 7-Eleven obviously in the wrong. And of course, I want to know what you guys think about all this down in the comments below. As per usual, if you like this video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on my social medias, support me via the support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about 7-Eleven firing somebody for not being murdered. Till next time.